Hello and welcome back to the iFox with Juice podcast. I'm your host Juice, and I'm here with my co-host Rina. Rina, what's going on tonight?
Hey, Juice, how's it going?
It's going pretty good. We had some crazy thunderstorms earlier this morning, but everything's cleared up today. Well, tonight. Let's see how it goes for the weekend because it's supposed to be raining hard again. It sounds like you have something similar over there too.
Yeah, it just started raining as we were going through the show, um, pre-show stuff, and then like 4 days straight we're gonna have some rain. So, yep, rain,
Yeah,
rain, rain.
yeah, similar forecast here in California. So looks like we have that to look forward to, but we also have some fights to look forward to. We're gonna preview the UFC card this weekend, talk about some of the Nevada State Athletic Commission stuff that came out a few days ago, and a few other things. But we're gonna do a quick little review of Bellator from last week. So we well, we're gonna talk about Aaron Pico, but I want to start with the main event. We had picked, well, I had picked Fedor, and Reen picked Bader, and she was right on that one. 35-second knockout for Ryan Bader, making him Bellator's first champ and the heavyweight Grand Prix winner. Seems like there was a lot of interest in, well, maybe not interest in the card, but it definitely got a lot of attention after the fact. A lot of people are paying attention to Ryan Bader, saying that he should fight DC or John Jones, that he should come back. But I don't know. That doesn't seem like a possibility. I don't think he'll ever come back to the UFC. Do you, Ring?
No, I don't think so. It seems like from the sound of things, he's really happy with Bellator. I guess they're going to be negotiating his contract now. He has some what is it? Some
Leverage.
clout or some leverage or
Yeah.
whatever to get more money. So I mean, why not? Why not
Yeah.
just stay? He's done so much already.
You know what was kind of a thought that I had a little bit after this happened is that I wonder. I mean, you're right. I think he does want to stay with Bellator. I don't think he's intent on leaving. I mean, unless they give him some low ball offer, maybe he just feels like, well, fuck you, then I'll go and do something else. I was wondering if he wanted to go like the Eddie Alvarez route and go to I wonder if he's considering going to one. If he did this good in Bellator, he should be able to smash people over there. And obviously, it's, do you want to live overseas? Do you want to fight? Travel over there all the time and whatever. But they seem to be shelling out good money. I wonder if he does go into free agency, like he said, how much they'll offer him if he'd be tempted, or if they're interested too. What do you think about that?
Wow, they would have to pay him a lot of money. I think
I mean, according to
a lot of money.
Demetrius and Alvarez, they're getting like seven-figure salaries or something.
Wow, I wonder if he would. I don't know. That would be interesting. I wonder if they would try to make a play at him. But would they? Because they're weird. Don't they have a relationship with Ryzen, and then Ryzen has a relationship with Bellator somehow, so they won't really poach him?
Yeah, because actually this just came out. I don't know if today or yesterday that King Mo's fighting in Ryzen again. This is the second time that he'll be fighting with them, and then obviously Darian Caldwell just fought a few months ago for the new year. He fought
Hmm.
Horiguchi over there. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess Ryzen's another option, but I guess he could do
Oh,
good
then
over
he could
there.
still stay with Bellator.
Yeah.
Yeah, and still stay with Bellator, maybe make additional money with Ryzen too. But yeah, he's in like an interesting spot right now.
Yeah, because then, well, I don't know how long it's been since Crow Cop fought, but I know he was doing good in Ryzen for a while. That could be an interesting fight. That could be, well, not a super fight, but I guess a very interesting fight with like Crow Cop and Bader. Trying to think of any other good heavyweights or higher weight classes, higher weight class guys that they have over there. But Crow Cop's the only one that comes to
Yeah.
mind for some reason.
You know, he's been asked would he defend both belts, and he's just so hesitant on really saying, "Yeah, I'll defend both. Of course I will." It was always like, "Oh, it just depends. We have to talk about it with the team and this and that."
I
So
mean,
I thought that was weird.
what incentive does he have? Because I mean, at heavyweight, I don't think he's gonna do anything there. Because who's there and who's there
Hmm.
that drums up interest. At light heavyweight, he has that what's his name, Nemkov guy, who's legit, who I mean, I think would give him a real good test. I think he's very talented, but nobody knows about him. So who knows if he wants to do
Yeah.
that? And then there's been this thing with him and Tito Ortiz, right? That it seems like they're both interested. Am
Yeah.
I wrong?
Yeah, well, Ariel Helwani brought it up on his show on Monday because Ryan was, he was being interviewed, and that was what was brought up. How about the rematch against Tito Ortiz, and Chael Sonnen's name was also brought up, and he sounds like he's all for it as long as it makes sense to Bellator, and if they can justify having, him fight Tito Ortiz, and yeah, he'll do it. So he's being a company man, and I kind of understand because I mean, who does he really have to fight? Number one, and number two, he's probably want to go after the money fight as well. So I don't really care to see it, but man, if you need to get that money, then okay, I guess we'll watch Ortiz get beat up.
you know,
I'm just gonna leave it at that.
well, that's what I was gonna say right now. Is like, to be fair to him, people. I'm sure there's some people listening to this who may be new or probably weren't around at this time, didn't understand the magnitude of when Tito beat him. Like, that may be one of the biggest upsets. That may be up there with GSP Matsera. Yes, GSP Matsera was way bigger because Matsera was basically nobody, and GSP was thought to be, well, at that point, one of the biggest prospects ever, and nobody thought he would lose. Definitely not anytime soon, especially against a guy like that. So that is the biggest upset ever. But as far as where they were both at their careers at that point of Bader and Ortiz. Ortiz, I think, was coming off of like 4 or 5 straight losses. He hadn't won in like 5 or 6 years. And Bader I think he had just lost to John Jones. So, yeah, he was coming off a loss, but then we started seeing how talented John Jones was. And he basically got knocked out and choked out in the same fight in less than a round. It wasn't like he got some sneaky decision. It wasn't like he just caught him with some crazy flying knee that he didn't see coming. He caught him with this crazy punch that would have knocked most people out. And then he got guillotined. Like, that was so insane. Yeah, I mean, if I was Bader, I'd be looking for every reason to get revenge, and that should sell.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean,
Yeah.
people need to realize how big of an upset that was back then. And then, look, I mean, I know it's Chuck Liddell, and I know they weren't in their prime, but Tito did beat Chuck Liddell, the guy he'd already lost to, and then Chael too. I mean, I didn't know a lot of people that thought that Chael was going to lose to Tito, and Tito, I mean, he's been doing good lately. All things considered, he's been doing good lately. Ryan Bader's a whole other animal, but it's sellable in a weird way.
Yeah, well, Bader, from what I'm hearing, he never got really hit during this entire tournament, so that's amazing. I mean, considering he moved up, right? He's fighting heavyweight monsters, so he barely got hit. He's on a 7-fight win streak, and his losses are from like John Jones or Leo Machida or Glover Teixeira and Rumble Johnson. So I mean, you gotta put him up there and give him his praises now.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, it's Bader. He didn't do great. He went to the B League, but if you look at his body of work, I mean, you have to give him his props.
Yeah, I mean, like I was just saying about Tito, I mean, Tito is his worst loss in his career as far as like the guy that he was supposed to beat that he didn't. But everyone else, it's not surprising that he lost to John Jones or surprising that he lost to Anthony Johnson or some of these guys because they're monsters. He's basically only lost to the best.
Yeah.
So yeah, I see your point. And then yeah, you're right. I'd forgotten about that. He basically took no damage in this. He knocked out King Mo and Fedor combined in less than a minute. I think King Mo was like 12 seconds and Fedor was 35. So he basically knocked him out in like 50 seconds ish. And then Mitrione was 15. Yeah, Mitrione was 15 minutes, but I don't think he took a punch in that fight. He just wrestle fucked the shit out of him, and took basically no damage in the process. And we know that Mitrione can hit. I mean, I think even if he would have jabbed him, he would have been in some kind of trouble. But yeah, he was total domination that fight. That was like a 30-25, 30-24 type fight because Mitrione did next to nothing, and he almost got choked out a few times if I remember right.
Yeah. And Mitrione isn't a joke either, so yeah, it's going to be interesting to see who he fights next, what they'll do with him next.
Yeah,
He
definitely.
called out DC, but let's just pump the brakes on that one for a minute, all right?
They were supposed to fight. I remember I wrote an article back in the day of like why I wanted to see that fight, and at that time everyone's like, "Man, who the fuck is Ryan Bader?" And I don't even like DC anyway. It was just a shitty fight, but it was the most deserving at that time. After DC beat Rumble the first time, he was basically the number one contender, but the fight just never happened. And then they ended up going with Gustafsson, if I remember correctly, which was it was good in the long run because it was such a great fight, but that shouldn't have happened. You know, Bader was the guy that should have taken it, but long time ago. That would be interesting now. You know, we don't even know what's going to happen with DC at this point, but all the props in the world to Bader and to you too, Reen, for picking him. But yeah, this Aaron Pico business. So that knockout, man, that was some horrifying shit. I mean, it kind of reminded me in a way of like Czech Congo Pat Barry of a fight that I mean there's comebacks and there's comeback knockouts, but a fight that the guy looked all but done. Corrales was so fucked up from that uppercut. And then he got back up and he was still getting bombed on and you could tell he was still hurt. And then like 20 seconds later, Pico was unconscious. Yeah, I don't know. That was a brutal knockout. It was kind of worrying seeing him after the fight because he was like holding on to his trainer. He basically couldn't even walk straight. Like it was very concerning. But all the props in the world to Corrales. But I don't know. I'm at this point, and maybe I'm not alone here. I'm kind of just wondering about Pico. Like, is he a bust? Is he like a Todd Duffy character where he had like one or two big losses and didn't ever recover? He couldn't become this world beater that everyone thought he could be. Because like Todd Duffy, when he came on the scene, everyone thought he was going to be a for sure champion, and then he had a few losses and just never did shit. But then another guy's like Max Holloway, he had a lot of losses when he first came in the UFC. He didn't have the best record, and now look at him. He's possibly one of the best featherweights ever. So I don't know. It's he's so young, so it's hard to know. But do you have any feeling one way or the other, Ring?
God, that yeah, it was scary to watch. He was deaded, like out cold. God, 22 years old. He's so young. Um, Pico even mentioned that, yeah, he shouldn't have stayed in the pocket. He's young, he's inexperienced. He should use his wrestling a little more. So I think this hopefully he takes all that and changes his game plan because he's a smart kid. He knows what he's doing. Um, so I think this loss will be a good loss, and hopefully he'll just turn it around and come back. And I mean, I think he can still do it. He can still be a champion. He just needs to be a little bit more smarter because he can't fight like that forever. I mean, you got to think about longevity and wanting to get that title and also defending the title and being on top. If he continues to take shots like this, he's not going to be in the sport long at all. So yeah, he needs to really use his base, his wrestling. He needs to mix it up. So hopefully they'll take this loss and go back to the drawing board and really mix it up the next time because they need to protect him too.
So do you think he'll come back like as a? I mean, if he does everything smart and quote unquote the right way, he'll come back like as a GSP character. Like you can never know when the takedown's coming. A very good boxer, very good striking, very good grappling. Like he'll just become this well-rounded, all-around guy.
Yeah, I mean, if they say he is this phenom, then yeah, I think so. He just needs to really stop trying to be this knockout artist. You're in
Yeah,
MMA, you're in mixed martial arts. It's totally different.
yeah, that's what was weird seeing. I kind of even got that feeling as it was happening before he got knocked out. I'm just like, he's so set on knocking him out, and I didn't think it was the dumbest thing while he was doing like, oh no, you're gonna get caught, you're gonna get caught. But I was just like, why is he so adamant on knocking him out? Like he can like let him be, to take your time. I'll jab him, I'll work him, yeah, take him down. Like why was he like, I need to finish this right now? Like I have him hurt. it's almost like he wasn't gonna get another chance. It was like the last 10 seconds of the fight. Like, this is my only opportunity, and he was just going for it. Like, I know it's kind of I guess you could say it's a rookie mistake, but it just seems like he was just infatuated with the knockout. Like, he seemed like he was there to entertain, not to win, or just out there for his ego, which is never a good look.
Yeah, I mean, he had Corrales hurt early on, and he allowed him to get back up, and that would have been a perfect time to use his wrestling or take his time. Get on top of him, get him in a dominant position. Like, why didn't you? You could have just finished it right there on the ground, but it just seemed like he wanted that highlight reel or something. He was dead set on knocking him out, but he got knocked out instead. So it was tough to watch, man.
Yeah, it's always a little weird when a young kid gets knocked out that badly, but I mean, there's no way he doesn't learn from it. Well, it did. Well, it's interesting with the commission because Corrales may not be able to fight a featherweight, at least not in California, because they've definitely told him to. They're going to recommend him to go up because he gained over 20 pounds on fight day. If I remember correctly, I gotta check this out again. But yeah, he weighed 167.6 pounds on fight day. So that's like 22 pounds. So he's a big dude. It's just crazy. Now it's I commend him even further for getting the win and for not getting knocked out, because if you're cutting that much weight, people that cut a lot of weight, usually their cardio and their recovery isn't all there. It's kind of easier for them to get knocked out. Like, that was kind of the reason why I think, controversial or not, it's kind of the reason why I think TJ got hurt by Cejudo, because he cut so much weight. I don't think his recovery was all there, but Corrales recovered well and ended up getting the knockout. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know how much attention he's gonna put to that, especially that he just beat Pico. He might be next in line for a title shot, but man, I at least it was good to see Corrales. I've only seen one fight of his, but I'm definitely a fan now. Not just for the knockout, but just seeing his heart. It was one thing to knock out Pico, but it was another to knock him out in the way he did after coming back from adversity. So it did make me a fan of his.
Yeah, that was a good fight. And he's like, what did he say? He's like, who's next? So he was already ready to go. He wants another fight. He could have fought again, but 20 pounds heavy though? God damn.
It's a lot.
It is. Now that I think about it, Aaron Pico looks like he's a baby.
And it kind of makes sense why he knocked him out so badly too, because Corrales doesn't look like this big intimidating guy. He doesn't look like Anthony Johnson, or actually Pico looks way more intimidating than him. He's got like a more intimidating physique, but yeah, I mean the weight difference, like, damn, that's a big boy. That's a lot of power.
Yeah. No wonder dead on the ground.
Yeah, it makes a little bit more sense.
That was crazy, the way he got knocked out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was Bellator anyway. Yeah, good night of fights. Jack Swagger got a submission win too. So yeah.
Did you watch it?
I did. Yeah. Yeah. I did.
He's not bad. He kind of impressed me. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely could have been worse. I wasn't shit talking it. Like, yeah, I was impressed. I was impressed. He did good. He didn't seem to be like too eager to, like, in that Pico style, too eager to, to in his own head, too eager to entertain. He seemed like he had the game plan and he was set on doing it, and he did it.
Yeah, he quickly pushed Kaiser up against the cage and got him on the ground, got in the dominant position. He was working to, even though he knew any jiu-jitsu, to be honest with you. And then next thing you know, he adjusted. He got him with some hard elbows, and then he made him tap with the head and arm choke, right? So yeah, I had no idea he had it in him. I thought he was just a wrestler. Just he had a wrestling base. He used that, and that was it.
Yeah, I do give him props for how he did it too. Like, like the elbow, like what he did seems very rudimentary. A few strikes from Mount, a choke, like it seems like first day type stuff. But given his base, if you can get good position, being such a good wrestler, if you can, well, elbow's basically the most powerful weapon you can do, especially on the ground. So go for it. And then once he was hurt, once he, gave him the back, he just took it. And I know once he didn't even give him his back, but once he just kind of wanted out of there, he took him out. And then I've seen a lot of wrestlers do the head and arm choke. I guess because of, I don't know if it's the actual hold of like how you get it, or if it's just their build, since they're kind of big muscular guys, it's easy for them to do. But a lot of wrestlers are good at that. I mean, Brock Lesnar submitted Shane Carwin with that. I've seen a lot of wrestlers do that, so I think it's just a move that they like. Maybe it's very close to wrestling. It's very close in what they're already doing that it's pretty easy for them to do. It's not like a triangle choke,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. He said he wants to fight in 3 months, so he wants to be active. So yeah, props to that guy. Like people were making fun of him, like, oh, you're gonna be like CM Punk, just come in here and think like you're gonna take over. He never had a pro fight. He haven't never had an amateur fight before. No way, this isn't gonna work. Well, the experiment worked, so good job on that guy.
Yeah, good for him. I hope he actually becomes something because there can always be heavyweights, especially in Bellator, but just heavyweights in general are always good to have. If he becomes good,
Did
good for everybody.
Yeah, did you know that he wrestled against the young Cain Velasquez in
Um, I
college?
I think I heard Schaub say that. I was watching the fight companion. I think I first heard it from him.
Yeah, he's been wrestling since he's 5 years old. I had no idea. I
Yeah,
didn't
and
know it was that serious.
I didn't know he was from Oklahoma too. He's Oklahoma State, I think, and I know that school has very good wrestling. I think Johnny Hendricks came from there too. And I know we shit on Johnny Hendricks now, but people forget what an accomplished wrestler he was. There's a lot of good guys that came from that school. So yeah, he's definitely not to be fucked with.
Yeah, so he has a mouthpiece and he has some talent. So hopefully they can make something of this.
Yeah,
Ignite a fire at Bellator or something. Have like a
yeah,
superstar come up.
yeah. Would be good. As I said, heavyweights are always welcome. God knows we need them. Good ones anyway. There's plenty of heavyweights, just not many good ones. So if he's a good one, all more power to him. Moving on though, we're going to talk about the ESPN Plus card, ESPN Plus 2 in Fortaleza, Brazil. I haven't heard much about the violence lately, but I'd bring a riot shield just in case, because last week we were talking about this. It seemed like they were going through some shit over there. But anyway, second ESPN Plus card. It seems like it's taking place in the afternoon too. It's not happening at the usual 5 o'clock, 7 p.m. start time. So you guys should check your schedules. I believe the main card starts at 5. So definitely, this ESPN Plus thing is a little bit of a hassle of trying to get everything together. So, but a lot of good fights. I'm actually very interested in this card, especially that some of the Brazil cards aren't always great. We're gonna touch on some of them. We're not gonna talk about these, but I did want to give a quick word. Livia Renata Souza is fighting. I don't know her opponent, so we're not gonna really go into it. She's a newcomer. She was on the Contender Series, but since I don't know much about her, I don't want to be unfair to her and do as I did with Aaron Pico last week and just say he's gonna win because I knew him and I didn't know the other guy. But keep your eye out for Livia Renata Souza. If you guys haven't seen her fight, she's very, very entertaining, very violent, and very well rounded. I don't know how far she'll get, but she's always going to be a fun fight. And Magomed Bibulatov is fighting too, who's a total piece of shit, who's a Ramzan Kadyrov goon. But we've been hearing all this stuff as of late of people like Greg Hardy getting, not being able to getting the spotlight with his past. Well, Magomed Bibulatov has done way worse. He's on the early prelims, so maybe that's why people don't care. But I remember when John Moraga knocked him out, how ecstatic I was. So if this guy he's fighting knocks him out, I'll be happy once again. So that guy's fighting too. So if you guys want to see him, cool. If not, I get it as well. But we're gonna start with one of the prelims, Thiago Alves and Max Griffin. Interesting fight. Alves is coming off a lot. Well, they both are coming off losses, but Alves is obviously on the decline. Griffin still has a way to go. He can still come up. Thing with Alves is just I feel that his skills are there. He just his mind just may not be in it anymore. I'm kind of just gonna go with Griffin based on the potential because I don't know what else Thiago Alves has to offer. What do you think, Green?
Yeah, I mean, he's had so many wars. Um, that Carlos Condit fight was brutal. Those elbows, God.
Yeah,
Whew, I remember that fight.
that nose.
Yeah, yeah. And then he just got beat by Curtis Millender, right? Recently, actually,
He
prior
did.
to the Alexi fight.
Yeah, he got knocked out by Millender earlier in 2018, but he just lost the decision to this Russian cat. He was on the Hunt Olenek card. He lost the decision. He actually did look okay in the fight. He wasn't like getting hurt. It wasn't like he looked shot, but it seemed like the guy just had him figured out. Like he
Yeah,
studied him very well and had a good game plan. There was nothing like disheartening that this guy needs to hang him up, but I think people just kind of caught on to Thiago's style and his tendencies, and the guy just capitalized.
yeah. He was able to pull it off in the third round, I think, with the unanimous decision win. So at least he didn't get knocked out there, but he had
Yeah.
that brutal knee with Curtis. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Max Griffin too. I mean, he's from up here. He trains from MMA Gold, so I have to support him. He's a NorCal guy, so
Oh, I didn't
yeah,
know
my
that.
uh-huh.
Is that
Yep.
recent, or has he always been with them?
Um, not always. He was at a different gym too, Mary Noble's gym. He was there for a long time. Like he's trained martial arts with them for years since he was a kid, I think. At that gym, and that gym is like literally like 20 minutes away from me. MMA Gold is the same gym that Aspen Ladd trains at, and that's like 45 minutes from me. So,
Okay.
but yeah, he's a local guy, so yeah, I have to go with the local fighter.
Okay. Fair enough. So we're both going with Griffin there. Both going with Griffin. Next fight I want to talk about is Justin Ledet versus Johnny Walker. Justin Ledet's a former heavyweight, came down to 205. I believe he became vegan. I don't know if he became vegan to lose weight or he became vegan and ended up losing weight and decided to come to 205. But regardless, I like Justin Ledet. He's a very interesting skill set. I don't know if he was a pro boxer or damn near it, but he's very good. His hands are very good. He may have the most stinging and educated jab I've seen in MMA in a while. And Johnny Walker is just a hilarious character with an awesome name. Who, I mean, he's just a force. He's just a gigantic guy. All power. That knockout of Khalil Roundtree is still stuck in my head. It was so disturbing to me because I saw it coming as soon as he grabbed the clinch, I knew what was going to happen to him, and sure enough, it did. Um, that guy's Thai clinch it's up there. It's like Thai class, literally. But I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on this one, Reen? I think I'm still kind of stuck with my with my thoughts here.
It should be a fun fight. Oh God, this is a hard pick for me too. I don't think. Wow. Oh, I don't know. Walker has the reach and size advantage, that's for sure. He's a big dude. Man, he's so athletic. He's powerful. He could definitely mix up with the striking and his kicks. And man, I keep leaning towards Walker on this one. He's so giant and just he's fun to watch. So yeah, I'm just gonna lean on Walker on this one. Sorry. It's so hard to decide on this one, but
You know what? I think maybe I'm just going against you, but I think I am gonna go with Ledet on this one. I don't think it'll be easy. I like Walker. I wouldn't be at all upset if he
mm,
won, but Ledet isn't much shorter than him. Like the Khalil Roundtree thing, that was a big discrepancy. He's I think only an inch shorter and has Walker only has 2 inches of reach on him, I believe. Um, but I don't know, just Ledet's boxing. Roundtree is obviously powerful and he's kind of creative. But Ledette's boxing is no joke. And although I liked what I saw from Johnny Walker, I don't know how well rounded he is. I don't know if once he starts getting a jab thrown in his face, once he fights a guy who can move around and knows how to throw his hands and keeps his hands up, I don't know if he's gonna, there's a possibility he may be a 1 round type fighter. So I guess just because I don't know enough about him, I haven't seen him through enough adversity or through enough uh, seen him face enough fighters with really good striking. I'm just gonna go with Ledette. I'm kind of going out on a limb there, but I think he could get it done. So I'm going with
Okay.
Ledette on that one. Next fight, uh, Charles Oliveira versus David Taymor. Man, this may be the toughest one on the whole card for me. Oliveira is obviously, it's been in the UFC forever, holds the record just coming off of his fight where he got the record for the most submissions in the UFC, beating out Royce Gracie. Um, he tends to do good in Brazil, so there is that. I'm not sleeping on Oliveira at all, but I'm a giant David Taymor fan. I don't think enough people know about him. I'll just go out and say, yeah, I'm going for him, and it is maybe just a pick on heart. Since I'm a much bigger David Taymor fan than I am an Oliveira fan. He's a very good striker. He's definitely going to have the edge there, but he's also a pretty good grappler, especially with his wrestling. I just hope he doesn't do something stupid like take him down as he's winning and get guillotined or something. But so long as he doesn't do that, if he can keep it standing, it's going to be a long night for Oliveira because that Tamor is like also another one. Like I think he had legit like Thai skills. The way that he kicks, man, he does fight like a legit Thai fighter. So I'm gonna go with Tamor on that one. How about you, Rin?
I'm gonna go with Oliveira on it because yeah, he's been competing. Tamar, he's been competing in Muay Thai and kickboxing when he was since he was a kid. So that's his background. He has like great takedown defense, scrambles too, which he'll get back to his feet and reset again, and you know has the ability to hurt someone. But with Charles Oliveira, if you make a mistake, it's gonna be a long night. You're gonna be on the ground for a while. This should be a fun fight too. So yeah, I'm just gonna pick Oliveira for the win, and by sub, of course.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. I'm definitely probably be most interested in this fight because yeah, I get your pick too. It could definitely go almost like a 50-50 kind of way, knockout or decision to Tamor or submission for Oliveira. So good enough.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on, Damian Maia's back. He's gonna fight Lyman Good. This is I don't know how to feel about this matchup. Like a part of me feels that it's good for Maia because he's not facing these smothering wrestlers how he has been in the past couple fights. He's not facing a Covington, Woodley, a Usman type who, the worst kind of style match for him. Good's not that Good's not that type of guy, but he's very physical. He's a gigantic dude. He's a very big guy for the weight class. And he's on his way up. He's a veteran. He's fought everywhere, but just hasn't made his mark in the UFC yet. And I don't know if they did this fight to see if Maia can come back to give him a quote unquote easy fight, or for Good to take out Maia and just use him as a stepping stone. But given what I've seen of Damian Maia recently, I don't see. I don't know. I'm sure he's going to go for the takedown early, but I don't see how Good hasn't just learned from these past couple fights to just stuff him and see Maia's tendencies and his habits when he does go for takedowns. If you studied him well, you should be able to do it. So I'm hoping that Good is disciplined and studied up enough on Maia's game to neutralize it. And if he does, I think he's going to knock him out in the first round.
Oh God, I would hate to see that. That would be tough. He's 41.
Damn, I forgot. I knew he wasn't young, but I forget how old he is.
Yeah, he had a tough out. His last 3 losses were to top level fighters with the wrestling background. So
I gotta look at the number again too, but I know he hasn't gotten a takedown in the last 3 fights. I think he's, if I remember right, he's been like 0 for 39 in the past 3 fights for takedowns. He has not gotten one.
Well, he's coming back this time. I gotta go with the old man. I mean, good. He's strong, but yeah, once old man Maya gets a hold of you, which he will, he's gonna take you down. It's gonna be a long night. So I don't want to count out Maya yet. So I'm gonna go with Maya for the win on this one.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of Good's last win, that knockout of Ben Saunders. He fucked him up good. I don't know. I know Ben Saunders isn't Damian Maya, but man, just I think people have been sleeping on that guy's power, and I don't know the way that Maya comes in. Sometimes I can definitely see him getting slept, but
Yeah.
I'd be kind of sad. I don't know. I kind of hated Maya for a while because he took out Condit, but he was so respectful of him. It was kind of hard not to, but yeah, no, I can let that go. I don't want him to get beat up that badly. I just have a feeling that he might. But nothing personal. But moving on to the co-main event, Jose Aldo. Man, Jose Aldo in a 3-round co-main event. Weird world. He's fighting Renato Moicano. I mean, I don't know. It seems like everyone around him and everyone is just assuming. It seems like Aldo's not going to fight for a title again. That he does not, maybe not even interested. I've even heard things like that this week. And Moicano just seems like he's on the way up. I'm a gigantic Moicano fan. I kind of see him as a prime Jose Aldo. The things that I see of him remind me a lot of Aldo 5, 6, 10 years ago. I'm not counting out Aldo. I think he can definitely give Moicano a lesson or two. I kind of have this feeling that Moicano is going to adapt. I think it'll be fun. I think it'll be a gunfight at points, but I think he's going to find a way to neutralize some of Aldo's game. And the fact that his leg kicks are almost as impressive as Aldo's, I think there's something there. Like although Aldo, he just fought Jeremy Stevens and knocked him out with the body punch. Impressive win. Stevens was not scared to kick with him, and he knew that Stevens could kick him real hard. So he didn't get lucky. Obviously, he earned that win, but he kind of had to go with him in a boxing approach. He knew that the leg kicks weren't going to work with him. So I think Moicano already kind of has an advantage in that, and Moicano's striking is very good too. I mean, he dropped Cub Swanson with a jab, so he is pretty powerful. He's very adept. He's a very adept striker. I think he takes a close, maybe split decision. Moicano.
Yeah. I don't want to count Aldo out just yet, but I think he counted himself out. He's already talking about retirement by the end of the year. He wants to fight all his fights in Brazil. He only has 3 fights left. He's not interested in the belt anymore. So he's like already setting himself, he's setting himself up for failure, I guess, is what you can call it. So that just concerns me. I mean, which Aldo do we have? Do we have the Aldo that's coming back and wants to fight? He got a win over Jeremy Stevens. He won over Frankie Edgar. He played it safe there. Very smart. His back-to-back losses were to only Max Holloway. Anything can happen in that division. He can be right back in, title contention. But he's talking all this stuff, and I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do with Josie. I kind of feel sad for him.
Kind of at the same time, don't you? I feel like he said a lot of stuff like this before. I wanna try and box, and I remember at one point he said he wanted to quit MMA and go play soccer.
Yeah.
I mean, he's said shit like this for years now.
Forth. Yeah, back and forth, and it's like, well, anything can happen. You're still in your prime. With Moicano, though, yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Moicano on this one too. Just, I don't know. I can't trust Aldo right now. I don't know where his head is at.
Yeah, you feel like he's got one foot out the door already.
Yeah, yeah. Just hearing all these things that were going around this week. So
Yeah, I
yeah,
get you.
sorry, Aldo.
Yeah, you don't feel safe with the pick. I get it. Yeah.
No, it should be a fun fight, but he's not the king anymore.
Yeah, he's still Aldo though. I mean, I don't sleep on Aldo. He's still super talented, but I just think Moicano's got he's got a little juice for him. He's got something to figure him out one way or another. But yeah, I'm definitely excited for this one though. It should be fun. Even if it's a little lackluster, I think it could be fun. But
Yeah, and then he didn't want to be the main event. That concerned me too. I'm like, you don't want to be the main and get more money, possibly. You
I
just
don't
want to
know
fight
what's
3 rounds. Like that was like another concern I had too.
I don't think the money thing. I'm pretty sure is gonna get paid the same regardless. But the thing I don't know if it concerns me more. At first, I thought it seemed like he wasn't that interested, which I was like kind of about. But then I think it concerned me more when he said that. Oh, it wasn't me. It wasn't that I said that I wanted to fight 3 rounds. It was Day Day. It was his coach. And his coach basically said I
Oh,
want him to fight 3 rounds, and he just kind of was like, whatever, I'll fight 3 rounds then. Like I don't know. To me, that I get you. That's further kind of proves your suspicion that he's kind of checked out. It's like I don't give a shit. I'll fight
uh,
whatever. Just let me fight.
oh yeah,
It's not a gamer attitude. It's kind of like a fuck it attitude. It's way different.
yeah. He really has no control over his life, his fighting career. He's just like, whatever. I'll do what you want me to do,
Yeah,
dude. You're not the one fighting, coach. It's like,
yeah, yeah. Because it
crazy.
wasn't like okay, we talked about it and he made some good points. Like maybe it's not wise to go 5 rounds, or maybe this guy. Because when you think about it, although Aldo never had like the greatest gas tank, he did do good in 5 round fights, so maybe it'd be to his advantage because Moicano hasn't fought 5 rounds yet. But Data's just like, 3 rounds, you don't need it. Like, okay, I don't know.
Mm.
Weird all around. But anyway, moving on. Main event rematch between Rafael Sunsao and Marlon Moraes. First fight took place UFC 212. Speaking of Aldo, he lost his belt against Holloway in Brazil. UFC 212, that was 2 years ago. Well, almost two. I think it was a year and a half ago. So Mariah's been on the tear since he lost that fight. It was a very close fight. I've seen the fight a few times now. I think I thought Moraes won when I first saw it, but looking at it now, I see why they gave it to a Sunsao. But I will say that the third round of that fight is one of the closest rounds I think I've ever seen in my life. I'm not mad whether you gave it to Moraes or to a Sunsao. I think the first round was clearly Moraes. Second round was close, but it went to a Sunsao, and the third round was anyone's guess. So the split decision was deserved there. Although someone did give a Sunsao 30-27, which is bullshit. But interesting fight. I mean, I I like Moraes. I like a Sunsao too. I want to be excited for this fight, and it's not that I think this fight's going to be boring. I actually enjoyed their first fight a lot, even though some people thought it was boring. But I kind of feel like this might be all for nothing because it seems, especially if a Sunsao wins, it seems like the UFC is not interested in promoting them whatsoever. And Moraes, I have more faith in because he's a little bit more exciting. He's had some highlight reel knockouts, and his manager's Ali Abdelaziz. When we know how that works out. Um, look, based off of his recent win streak and some of his knockouts, and just the slight adjustments that Moraes has made since their first fight, I'm gonna go with him. I'm gonna go with Moraes. This is a 5 round fight, so he's gone 5 rounds, but it's usually been against scrubs. And a Sunsao, I don't know if he's ever gone 5 rounds, so I'm gonna go with Moraes more based on anything based on experience in 5 round fights. I think even if he's having trouble in the first 2 or 3 rounds, he can figure it out in the fourth and fifth if it goes that long. So I'm gonna go with Moraes by decision.
I was picking Moraes too. And yeah, that last fight that they had was very close. Fun to watch. God, he's so good. He's so fast, Moraes.
Yeah,
Um, if he could just mix it up, stay active again, mix it up with his punches and kicks, switch stances, the switch kick. Wow, I mean, he's so fast. If he can do that, it'll be hard for Assunção to read him and counter. But man, he has the big right hand too, though. But yeah, I'm gonna go with speed over power on this one. So same pick.
Nice. Yeah, I and as I've said in one of the earlier shows for my bold prediction of 2019, well, my bold prediction was Tony Ferguson, but I did say that I did think that Moraes would be champion by the end of 2019. So I'm still holding to that. This is not an easy fight by any stretch of the imagination, but I think he can do it. And just seeing what I've seen lately, I do think he could give TJ problems. Who knows what's going to happen with all that, especially with Cejudo and if he's actually going to go up and stuff. But I think whether it's him, whether it's TJ or someone else down the line, I'm pretty sure he can take him out. So, yeah, I'm still going all gung-ho for Moraes. So I'm excited for that one. I just hope it does materialize. It's not just a number one contenders fight that doesn't even lead to a real contender. So still hoping everything goes well. Moving on though, a few days ago there was a big NSAC, the Nevada State Athletic Commission. There was a big meeting, and they talked about and reinstated John Jones. They gave him his license, picograms and all, and they handed out some punishments to Khabib Nurmagomedov and Conor McGregor. So I want to talk with Teflon John. He's basically not just been given a license to compete. Seems like he's been given a license to cheat as well. And I'm not saying this is that I know for sure that he did or didn't do anything prior to Alexander Gustafsson, but they basically said if any picograms pop up of this thing that you've been having this issue with, you will not be suspended, you will not be pulled, you basically everything's gonna go on as normal. And I just don't I don't know much about this. I don't know what he is or isn't doing, but to me it just seems like he can get away with some stuff here if he's ahead of the curve on some things. What do you think, Rina? Is it all fuckery? Was there any other option they could have gone, or just what do you think?
I don't understand because I thought the rule said if they find anything in your system every time you get tested, you're going to get busted. You're going to be, suspended. There's no gray area with that. It was you're going to be suspended. So why is it different with John Jones? It's the same thing, right?
It seems tested. Like it seems like USADA. I mean, USADA was the one that there was no re-ingestion, there was no foul play here, so we're gonna go on as scheduled. But it just seems like obviously California did that because they licensed them, and now Nevada's basically doing the same thing. It's just like, oh well, if California and USADA said it's good, then I guess you're good.
I don't understand that. So you're not going to look into it any further? Just say, yeah, this guy said it was good. He said it was good too. That homie right there. Yeah, we're good. We're good here too. That's what it sounds like. You're not going to do your own internal investigation and maybe, I don't know, interview different scientists or whoever to figure this out, because that's just strange to me. It shows up on one test, it doesn't show up on another. Yeah, this pulsating thing, nobody really understands it. So hey, it's cool. We'll just let it go.
They said that I think they were going to try and give them a minimum of 2 random tests a month on the commission's part, which I guess is good. But it's like, well, if that pops up, are you even going to say anything? I mean, you're basically saying he can get away with it. So what's the point? Yeah. I don't know. And then the whole thing that gets weird is that, you remember, I mean, there was the whole picogram issue, and then he tests clean for the fight after the Gustafsson, his night of or post-fight test, he was clean, but then he had to enroll in VADA testing, and VADA said that he tested positive for the picogram stuff again. So, it just seems fishy because VADA is supposed to have better testing than the state stuff. I don't know. It just seems all pointless. It doesn't seem like there's any reason for any of this.
Yeah, so maybe they should just keep it under wraps and not announce it if this is going to be the norm.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
that
if he
that's
tests
probably the
positive,
best
then
thing. Yeah,
yeah, like who? Don't tell us. Who cares?
don't ask, don't tell.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we know he has a pass. So.
Let's take this back to the 90s. Let's go all the way. Yeah.
Hmm.
So, well, that's the whole saga, the never-ending saga of John Jones. But um,
Yeah.
it seemed like the big story coming out of it was Conor and Khabib, more so Khabib. Um, Conor was given a $50,000 fine. Am I right, Rain?
Yep.
And a 6-month suspension
Yep.
for his involvement in the 229 brawl. And I'm not surprised that Khabib got a tougher punishment. It just seems, to most people, it seems excessive. I tend to agree. It's just weird, some of these comments about it. So he was given a 9-month suspension, which is somewhat expected, but a $500,000 fine. And last I heard, he still has yet to collect his paycheck from that night because the commission's been holding it, from what I hear. So it seems like that money's gonna come out straight out of that check. They also gave his teammates a year-long suspension, the ones that ended up attacking Connor, and then they charged him 20. They fined him 25,000, I believe, which Khabib says he's gonna pay. I guess because they got his back or whatever. But the weirdest thing to me about this whole thing was that they told Khabib that he can reduce his sentence to 6 months instead of 9 if he doesn't anti-bullying PSA, which is weird on two fronts. One, I believe they said the same thing to Connor when he had that bottle throwing incident with Nate Diaz. And I never saw that commercial or that or whatever they did. Maybe it's a private thing. Maybe he just goes and talks to some middle schoolers and, hey, don't be an asshole and don't throw bottles at people. Um, but it just never. It seems like these things never come to light. And the other thing was that Khabib was in the wrong. I believe whether you think the fine is excessive or not, or the suspension, he did deserve to get punished because he did do wrong on that night, and he did commit what he committed. He did engage in a street fight basically, but I think it's wrong to say that he was the bully here because Connor did um he provoked him. I mean, they fought and it was settled, and he definitely should have been a gentleman. And hey, what's done is done, and that's that. But a lot of shit was said by Connor, and he definitely wasn't happy about it. And then when it came to the actual fight and all that, he went after Dylan Dennis because Dylan was mocking him and provoking him during the fight. So I wouldn't say that Khabib was in self-defense, that he attacked because he felt he needed to. But bullying, I think, is always, if you're going to talk about bullying, it goes with the one that's provoking. And although I think Khabib overreacted, I don't think he was the one provoking in any way when it comes to this stuff. What do you think, Rin?
I'm just shaking my head. I don't understand that whole anti-bullying PSA. Yeah, we never saw it. It was issued to Connor too. Never saw it.
I want to say
Khabib was the
John
one
Jones.
that's
I want to say John Jones too, with the whole him and DC fighting in the casino thing too. Like, it has nothing to do with this picogram stuff that he's in for now. But I want to say they did something to him similarly to that.
yeah. I don't get it. Khabib was the one that was ultimately bullied. This is the reason why it happened. You know, he was taunted. He was being called all kinds of names, disrespected. His team, his family, everybody. He was being bullied, and this was the result of it. And then now you want him to pay this big old hefty fine. Oh, and by the way, and do this, suspension. And yeah, if you want to get it reduced, this is your chance to reduce it. Go ahead and start recording right now because you don't have that much time. You have until like a month or so, a month to get it done or something
Yeah,
to get that reduction. So I don't
I
understand how they got $500,000 out of. Like they just pulled it out of a hat or something. How can
well,
you go from 50,000 to 500,000?
yeah. I mean, I
I don't
think it was
understand
just
that part.
symbolic, and then it doesn't help that Khabib's purse was so large. I mean, this was one of the largest paydays, especially for the
Mm-hmm.
UFC. in I think in history. So if you go percentage wise, I believe it's 25% because I think he ended up getting like $2 million. I think that
Is
yeah,
that the exact numbers? Because I saw 1 million,
one
so I'm not
million.
even sure what the money, the actual amount
Yeah,
is. But
yeah, because yeah, if it was 1 million, they did 25%. That would have been 250,000. So yeah,
so
twenty
you
five
got
percent of
two.
2 million would be five. Yeah, so I think that's where it came from. I think with what you're saying, I think it's fair to say that yes, Connor did throw the dolly. Connor's not innocent. Connor's threw the bottles at Nate. Connor's done a lot of shit. But I think in this instance in particular, I think it's fair to say that Connor was a victim. He's the one that lost, and he's the one that ended up getting, hit and sucker punched after the fight. But he wasn't bullied. You could say he was a victim of what happened, but he was not bullied. This was not unprovoked. This wasn't like he was walking down backstage after a fight and Connor came and just sucker punched him. Khabib came and sucker punched him. Um, it wasn't unprovoked, although it was a long time ago before that, and although it had nothing to do with stuff in the cage, it wasn't unprovoked. So yeah, that's definitely weird. And not to also to add, I don't even know. I'm kind of clowning and speculating here, but I don't even know if bullying is a word in Russia or in that part of the Caucasus of where Khabib is from, because they're just, I don't think they acknowledge bullying as a thing or as a problem. That's just the whole boys will be boys thing. I mean, they're old school over there. So just the fact that they would ask him to do that, I understand it. It's dumb, but I get where their mindset is. But I don't know if they understand where Khabib is, or that he would understand that's a bad thing over here and that's frowned upon.
Yeah, I don't get it. He didn't throw a punch. So you're trying to tell me that he's getting the suspension and he's being fined $500,000 for getting on top of the cage and then going over it and soaring like an eagle into a crowd.
Well, he did
That
he did throw a punch at Dylan. I don't know how much landed, but the intent was to land. He was definitely trying to attack him.
well, but he still didn't land his right. But Connor did. Connor did actually go after somebody too. He tried to stop his teammate, Khabib's teammate, from going over the cage, right? And he swung at him and hit him ultimately because he took two shots at him.
You know what?
But he only gets fined
I
$50,000.
don't want to say this is that like I'm backing Connor. I'm defending him, but that's definitely what it sounds like. But it's just I always kind of gave Connor a break in all this because he'd just lost. It wasn't like, oh, I felt bad for him because he lost and he's innocent in this, but I just think that he although he didn't get like brutally knocked out or even choked out, he wasn't a tough fight. I don't know if he fully knew what was going on anyway. And all of a sudden he just sees this dude jump out of the cage and going towards his team. I don't know if he knew what Dylan had done, and then seeing the other teammates go, it's like, well, obviously you're going to help him. You're going to jump my friends or my coaches or my teammates. So I definitely get Connor's line of thinking, and I don't even disagree with him. Some people seem like they didn't want him to get punished at all. He was definitely at fault in a way too, but I think it was more understandable to see where he was coming from as to where Khabib should have just been a professional and been a martial artist about it. But I understand that it got to him, but he's not the first person that Connor's been, talk shit to. He just took it way, way wrong, way overboard.
Yeah, well, it's just strange to me that it's not an even playing field because everybody did wrong here. Everybody was at fault here. Everybody has a play at this, but yet Khabib has to pay $500,000. In Connor's criminal case, he didn't even have to pay that much. He had a $50,000 bail. You only pay like 10% of that, so which is what, $5,000.
It's
He took a plea bargain. His misdemeanors, felonies, whatever got wiped out. He has to do community service and anger management classes and pay damages to the bus, and that was an actual crime.
Oh, okay. I've gotten into this argument with this debate argument, whatever, with other people online, and Look, people want to say this stuff that Conor gets this preferential treatment and that because he's a celebrity, or I've heard even because he's white or whatever. Um, the reason why Conor got a quote unquote got away with it, if you want to say that, is because he has money, and I mean he has good lawyers. He that plea bargain that he did is different than a plea bargain you and I would do, where it's like, well, you're gonna go to jail for 6 months, and then it might be on your record, it might not. Like it's not a plea bargain when you and I do it. When he does it, it's like it's definitely worked to his advantage. And when you have lawyers and people with in good positions, power, money, all those things are gonna work in your favor. It's a little different
So
with the whole punishment thing because it wasn't with a commission. And the other thing
yeah.
about that is that he wasn't on that card. So I know that makes it worse that he came and attacked people and stuff, but he wasn't on that card. So he never had to face the commission as far as that goes. And they haven't talked about any other fights in New York after that. I'm going to say that they'd let him fight because he's Conor and it'd bring a lot of money in, but technically we don't know if he'd be licensed to fight in New York because if he has a fight coming up in New York, there's no way that they don't bring this up. It'd be extremely negligent if they do.
Yeah. So you commit a crime, you don't got to do much time. It's all good. But if you jump
If
over
you
a
got
cage,
money, if you got
if
money,
you
you don't have to.
yeah, well, if you jump over a cage, then you're gonna get a $500,000 fine and a
Yeah,
suspension. See, that's what I don't understand.
yeah.
There's no structure. There's really no process on any of this. They just said, yeah, it's 25% of your purse. Well, not really looking at everything else too. Everybody had a hand in this.
This is
Connor has history on this. This is Khabib's first offense. If you're in a court of law, they're going to be looking at all that. So, should the commission have this much power in making these decisions? I mean, I don't understand. If you're in a court of law, there's some negotiation, there's some things that you can do. Here, it's like, that's it. Of course, Khabib's going to sit out. And I think from what they said, like, yeah, they're cool with the $500,000. That's fine. They don't care about the money. And he will sit out for 9 months and maybe even longer because of his religion. He's going to take a break starting in May, in June.
yeah, Ramadan
So,
sometime in the summer. Yeah.
yeah. So, I mean, he doesn't care regardless. It's just, what are we doing here? And how are we going to handle all the other stuff that might come up later on? You know, we might not, we might see other stuff happening and the commission has to get involved. Are they allowed to have this much power over people? Power over
So
fighters that they don't even make that much money anyways. This
so
is
this
the
is a
only way
good
they make money, and they're taking a huge chunk out of it, chunk out of Khabib's purse. It's just insane to me.
this is a good segue into what I wanted to talk about next. There's obviously a debate to be had here about that, and I do agree with that part. It seems like a wide overreach of power. But what troubles me more, it troubles me, yet I don't know if I'm right or wrong, is this thing that one of the commissioners said about to Connor about it didn't even seem like just like, okay, yeah, say what you want. It was kind of a slap in the wrist for Connor. But they're like, well, we don't like this trash talk stuff, and we think that you can be sanctioned. Even we're gonna look to that in the future. That if the trash talk is too much, that we can fine you for that too. Is basically what he said. On principle, I'm not down with that. I'm a big free speech, advocate in in any capacity, really. But part of me also feels like this shouldn't happen. I don't endorse it. I don't think it's good. I think it's leading us to a very weird, fucked up, tyrannical path. But also, it's like I don't want them to take this approach, but I think they possibly can because the UFC kind of has this code of conduct stuff, and I know this is kind of out of the UFC's hands, but it seems like they can be like, well, hey, you have this code of conduct, why aren't you holding your athletes to it? And if they want to impose that themselves, it's like, well, we think, we have a code of conduct that we want the athletes that compete in our state to adhere to, especially after what happened. Dana made that big deal, like the governor of Nevada was there and him and his wife were scared shitless to leave because they thought there was going to be a riot. like I think they want to prove a point with this, and I think they're really going overboard. Whether it's Khabib's purse or this whole trash talk thing, I don't know. I know people have been talking a lot of shit about California lately, about them licensing John Jones and Chuck Liddell and this stuff, but this seems troubling. This is reminding me a lot of like Pat Lundvall and trying to ban Diaz for life for weed, and then ended up settling on 5 years because that seemed way less strict. Like I think it's just going that way again. Like, what the fuck are we doing?
So are they going to police Dana White and fine him too? Because he does a lot of trash talking. He really does. He's the president of the company, right? He's the face of UFC. Are we going to start policing him? You
He's
lead by
been
example, right? You
he's
lead by
been
example.
he's been more quiet lately. He's not. This is in 2012. Dana White that was going at everybody on Twitter, and I know that's just one thing of online shit and trolling and whatever. But yeah, he's definitely said things, and even as of late, I mean, definitely still taking digs at people like Tyron Woodley and what have you. But
and yeah, what level of trash talking are we talking about? Like, how are you going to set levels on that? How are you going to police that? Yeah, maybe Dana White hasn't been doing it lately, but he might talk some shit like he always does. You just never know what comes out of that guy's mouth. So how are you going to police anything? How are you going to police this?
Here's the thing, and that's actually a good point, and this is one of the reasons I kind of thought about it. I'm like, well, they may have a point here. I know we all take it as trash talk. We've been watching this for long enough where we know that a lot of it's bullshit. But if we're gonna talk, especially when we're talking about Conor and some of the shit that he's done, he's literally threatened people's lives. I mean, that doesn't mean that he was gonna kill him. That doesn't mean that he was planning to shoot anybody. But I remember, especially like with the Nate Diaz thing, like I don't fully remember what he said, but he basically said something like, should have killed me when he had the chance, and I'm coming back for you and your fucking team. Like things, like very threatening things if you look at it just on paper, So it's like, I know no one's taking it seriously that he's actually going to kill him and things like that, but that is also against the law if we're talking about it like literally. There's freedom of speech, but there's also the whole thing that you can't yell fire in a theater and you can't threaten people. Like that's seen seriously. You can't threaten people's lives. That's not protected under free speech. I know this is all bullshit. I know no one's taking any of it seriously. Anybody who's an actual fan is, but as far as I'm just trying to think of things legally and literally. I think they have something here, and I really hope they didn't. But I feel like if they want to press it far enough, I really do think that they can do something about it. You have a good point with Dana and all that, but let's be honest too. I mean, Dana holds a lot of favor in Vegas, and he has for years. So I don't see what they would do to him. And he's never threatened anyone's life that I know of, whereas Conor and a few other fighters have in boxing and whatever sport you have. It's a common thing in combat sports to threaten people. So,
well, I don't think they can do anything. I mean, there are some big celebrities that actually have stake in the UFC. So it's the fight game. It's part of the fight game, the trash talking. So they have to figure out what level of fight talking or, trash talking they won't tolerate. And they may have to go through everybody to figure it out, because guess what? Money talks. And once you start pissing people off and affecting their pockets, then yeah, it's going to be a problem. And I think those celebrities will want their money, and especially the UFC, right? So if it hurts their pockets, it's definitely going to hurt Las Vegas too, wouldn't it? So it's going to hurt everybody all around if they even try to attempt this. So
yeah. To come back to a point that you said earlier about that, like, oh, they're taking so much and they're not even like a business; they're just taking this money. It's like, well, a lot of the thing of the commissions, especially in Vegas, like they're bureaucrats. They're politically speaking, a lot of people like that, their job is to constantly justify reasons to have their job because they're really not that important in the grand scheme of things. So for them to say, well, look, we find this guy $500,000. Hey, we take the fighting stuff very seriously. We're not going to take people acting like savages in these events, and we're not going to have people scaring our governor and other politicians and friends. Like, they need to find a way to be relevant and find a way to see themselves as important. And this seems like one of the easiest ways. But at the end of the day, yeah, there needs to be fights in Nevada. There needs to be have revenue coming in, and you can only make so much money off of fines. The way you pay the bills is through the way you keep yourself in business and do all that you're doing is by having more and more fights in the state. So I hope they come to that realization. I hope nothing comes of any of this. I hope Khabib pays his thing, or I don't think he's going to get it reduced. So I think he's kind of fucked there. But they do their suspensions, and then this will be the end of it. But yeah, this is just a really fucked up, wacky thing going on all around right here.
You know what's crazy too? Though? It's like because of one fight, one main event, they're trying to regulate and make rules about trash talking. How long have we had UFC fights? We had several fights, and there was no issue like this. It's the fight game. Never had an issue like this before until now. And who's involved? Conor. Conor has a history of this. So just look at it. Think about it that way. Never had any issues until this person. Just saying.
I don't know. It's man. I guess I'll just say this. It's maybe not so relevant, but I don't know. The thing with Conor is that it puts me in a weird spot. I've been accused of being a Conor nut hugger, and I'm accused of being just this troll who, hates his every breath and word. But I do try to be in the middle with him. Yeah, he's definitely not my guy. He's not my favorite fighter. I'm not even really a fan of his fighting style, to be honest with you. Like, I respect it, but it's not for me. I don't get the big hype about him as far as talent goes, in cage talent. But I do think people go a little overboard with their hate of him. And I'm trying to be fair, and being fair, you just come off sounding like you advocate for everything that he's done, and the similarities between him and like Trump are ridiculous. Where on my end, I'm not a fan of Conor and I'm not a fan of Trump, but so much things go around him where people end up either lying about him or greatly exaggerating what they've done or what they're doing, that you kind of end up in a spot where you're defending them, and it's like, man, I'm on your side. I don't want to defend these people, but some people just go overboard with it, and I don't know. I don't think Conor is the reason why all this happened. I mean, it's just that he's so known for the trash talk, but I don't know. I feel that there's certain things that I don't know. I think I don't want to talk about honor and that all fighters are honorable just because they're quote unquote martial artists, and there's like, I think the rules in the cage should be the same as the rules on the street. I mean, even in the hood, you don't talk about people's families or threaten families or girlfriends or wives, or I don't know. I think if you can just follow those simple rules, it's fair game. You can talk shit about whoever and whatever, but that's not the way certain politicians and busybodies and bureaucrats look at it. So I guess that's all I have to say about that. Moving on, I guess. I don't know. Just a lot of talk with all that. I don't know what can be solved there, but it's definitely
nothing.
Yeah.
It's just like the whole John Jones thing. It's like, let's just change the rule for one guy.
It's a whole lot of news for a whole lot of nothing, really. And on everything from Khabib, Conor, Jones, it's all applicable across the board. So that's that. Hope you guys enjoyed that. We got a few more stories. I want to talk about Glory Kickboxing. So they just announced today that they're officially that Fight Pass, UFC Fight Pass, is their home, not just for the super fights that they've been doing for a while, which was basically like a glorified prelim, and most of their main cards would be on I believe ESPN3, some online platform. Now their whole cards are going to be on Fight Pass, which makes it much easier for me. I don't have to keep seeking these things out. If I want to watch a Night of Glory, I can just watch the good prelims and the good main card too. I don't have to keep scoping these things out. So that's good news. And some weird news though came out a few days ago that a certain commission in the Netherlands administered some drug tests, and they found a few of their fighters popped. It doesn't say for what substance; it just says a banned substance. And one of the fighters was Badr Hari. I'm not sure. I don't. The other names that came up were Hesdy Gurgis. I hope I'm saying that right. Ariel Machado and Mladen Brestovac. I'm not sure who any of those guys are, but I do know Badr Hari. Kickboxing in general is not exactly the place you want to go for clean sports, but Badr Hari has especially been accused of doing many supplements. But then it seems I haven't seen the actual writing in this because most of these articles are in Dutch. But it sounds like Glory dropped this commission or this program that did the drug testing. Did you find anything on this, Rain?
Yeah, that's what I was reading. Yeah, they're cutting ties with this particular doping agency to save face, save sponsorship revenue, especially with this new deal. So that was all that I could really find because, yeah, like I said, it was in a different language. Nobody else in the States is really writing about it. Maybe we'll see something tomorrow or something, but yeah,
It's
strange.
It's definitely interesting timing that this just came out a few days ago, and today they just announced that they're going to be on Fight Pass. I mean, I guess they've had bigger platforms. They were on Spike. They didn't do too well there, but they were on a big television station here statewide. But yeah, this is the first I ever hear of basically any kickboxing promotion with doping issues. Doesn't mean they weren't there. Obviously, it's safe to assume that there has been for a long time, but it's just the first time this is coming to light. So we'll see what happens with this. It could be nothing or just sweep it under the rug. Who the hell knows? But yeah, at least the good news is that at least I'll get to see Glory on Fight Pass. So and I do like that. I want to get to the tweet of the week. This week's tweet of the week is by featherweight champion Max Holloway. I don't know if some of you guys have seen this, but he basically pulled this epic troll. It wasn't so much him; it was Jameson, but still, the fact that he posted this was beautiful. So the tweet reads: 238 years of innovation, hard work, and unmatched quality. Not a watered down trend, a true pillar of Ireland, supporting the hard-working families in Dublin for generations. Thank you, Jameson Whiskey, for the hospitality, the #1 Irish whiskey in the world. And he took some pictures of him and their distillery, and they even gave him like a custom-made bottle with his name on it. But especially given his history with Conor McGregor, and of course the whole Proper 12 thing, it was a very savvy tweet. I really give him props for that one. So Max Holloway gets tweet of the week. Props to that one for originality and having a good quip and good snipe against Conor. But yeah, that's basically it for the fight stuff. We wanted to touch on one last thing, a news story. Really weird story that I came across. There's a restaurant in Australia, Burger Spot, and they have an interesting name. They have a bit of an interesting menu. The place is called Pablo Escobar Burger. So yes, that's clearly a play on words of Pablo Escobar. It's a burger joint. And they decided to go all out. They weren't just going to go with the name. They wanted to have a theme. And they have a burger that they sell. I think it's even named after Pablo as well. Yeah, it's called the Patron Burger, which is one of the nicknames that Pablo had. And looks like a regular cheeseburger, but on top it has a white line, which I believe it says garlic salt, and it has a fake $100 bill sticking in it. Instead of like a toothpick, they have a fake $100 bill through the burger next to the line of this white powder. And some people love it, And a lot of people were also offended by it, that they're glorifying drug use and narco traffickers. So I just thought it was so weird that of all places, Australia is the one that did this. But I don't know, Reen. What were your thoughts? What was your reaction when you saw this?
I started laughing as soon as I saw it because what are they using? Garlic powder? The
Yeah, something
lime?
like that. Yeah, like some kind of seasoning. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So I started laughing, and then when I read the actual article, I was like, wow, people are really offended by it. Like, can we
yeah.
just laugh a little? I mean,
Well,
it's not like the restaurant is called, you know, Pablo Escobar's Burgers or whatever. It's
mhm.
just a burger. It's the same as like maybe calling or donuts. They have like Psycho Donuts. I don't know if you guys have it down there, but Psycho Donuts.
No, I never heard of that.
Yeah, maybe
I
I
want to
can
go there
send
though.
you pictures. Yeah, send you pictures of it. But yeah, I mean, it's just a wordplay on it, really, right? I
Yeah, I
think it
mean,
looks pretty good too, by
it
the way.
does. It does look tempting. It does look tasty. I guess people think of it as like not just a drug thing, but it's been a long while since Pablo's been alive. But in the '90s, he was. I mean, the shit that he did in Colombia was nuts. It was terrible. I mean, some people, and I think rightfully so, have said like the way that maybe you or I think of like Osama bin Laden and the crimes he did against us and the crimes he committed. Like that's how a lot of people see Pablo, especially in South America, especially in Colombia. If this happened in Colombia, I'd definitely have something to say about it. I'd definitely be like, what the fuck is wrong? There are some people to this day that revere Pablo Escobar for good or bad reasons. But yeah, I could definitely be see why that'd be touchy. Even if it happened here, to be honest, if it happened in America, because we don't exactly have a good past with some South American countries, and then with the amount of coke that was coming into this country, it's like, well, we were kind of helping him because we're the number one buyer of his product. But I just didn't think that the Australians would pull some shit like this off. I can't give them props. They were definitely savvy. Given where it happened, that he had basically no connection to that side of the world, to that country. I really don't see the issue. I get why people might be mad, but I doubt many of them are actually going to go there. So I don't see the big deal.
Yeah. And in the article, it said that a lot of the Colombians enjoy the burger. I'm not sure if it's
part of
true or
me,
not,
part of me is not surprised.
but I mean, if it was a terrible thing that happened, we understand, we get it, but I mean, it's just a burger.
I,
That's
I
the way I
do
see it.
I do give the place props though, that a lot of people have talk shit to them, but they've said that they're not gonna. It wasn't their intent to offend anyone, but they're not gonna. They basically didn't apologize, and they said that we're not gonna change the name or change our style. We didn't mean to offend, but we got offended. Like, oh well, they're still gonna keep it the way it is. So props to them, man. Maybe it's an Australian thing, but they haven't given into public pressure the way that a lot of people here do. So I do respect that, for just based on principle. So good for them. And if one day I go to Australia and they're still there, I'm definitely want to try this. So you'll get a customer out of me if I ever go. But yeah, that's gonna be it for tonight. Hope you guys enjoy the fights. As always, give us a like, review, iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, Podcast Republic, Spreaker, all the typical platforms. You can find us there. Give me a follow if you haven't already. Juice underscore MMA at Twitter and Instagram. Rina's at Fox with you, Twitter and Instagram. And the podcast account, iFox with Juice, also on Twitter and Instagram. Hit us up there. Let us know what you think. And enjoy the fights. We'll catch you guys next week.
See ya.